Hello, everybody. Let me get this out of the way. We're having some technical difficulties tonight. There's gremlins in the machine. As far as I know, we are live. We're live on yergsradio.com. We're live on YouTube. Facebook, for some reason, however, we are not live on. So I'm going to verify we're live on YouTube and everything's going well. I hope you're having a great night. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. We've got Marc Hill here. We've had him on the other show. He's come on and talked to us about his book. We're going to talk challenge coins tonight. So that's going to be kind of cool. So let's see. Yeah, it says we're live. So let's go with it. All right. So who's my lovely assistant? Shay and Andy. I do not know what happened with it lost its ever-loving mind. So we're only live on Kick, Twitch, LinkedIn, Trovo, and YouTube.
No, it shows you're live on Facebook.
Well, that's funny because it told me I wasn't earlier. So, hey.
Yeah, it says it's live now.
Yeah, it's live.
All right. Well, it took my song away and everything. So, all right. Well, we've wasted enough time. Let's bring Marc in here. Hello, Marc. I apologize for that. We have had technical difficulties today for I don't know why.
It happens. No big deal.
Yeah. Weren't we just talking about computers and how great they were? Right.
Yeah, it's not like it's 2024 or anything. You know, we're the flying cars. I'm still waiting for that.
Yeah, exactly. Remember the comic books they used to have? All these things you'll have in the future. We don't have any of them.
There was a TV show. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was actually an Australian television show. It was called Beyond 2000. Late 90s, mid-late 90s was the show, and I remember distinctly that they were supposed to have flying cars, you know, by 2010 for sure. You know,
I'm still waiting for a legit hoverboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nothing, not even close. Quadcopters. I don't call that an actual, you know, flying car.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I learned I could move to Florida and have an e-bike and live in a community with nothing but e-bikes the other day. And I actually, for a minute, was thinking about it. I was like, that actually sounds kind of cool.
I can't believe how expensive those things are.
Oh my gosh, they're like $2,000 for like a basic model. Yeah.
If you want to get one with a decent amount of range, you're spending probably $4,000 or $5,000+.
Yeah.
You know? You get a nice used truck for $4,000.
I don't know how much golf carts are, but I think they would be more reasonable.
Yeah, exactly, right? Even an electric golf cart.
Just get yourself a side-by-side.
There you go. Get me. I think I'm the speed of a scooter. That's pretty. That's the speed that I am. So, Marc, how have you been? We haven't talked in a while. I know you were busy running around doing all kinds of things. Last time we talked, we were talking about ghosts. I think. Yep.
This was the last time, you know. So, no, yeah, there was a stretch there where I was. Yeah, I went and did a bunch of speaking presentations. I was here in Wisconsin. I was in downstate Wisconsin. I went to Louisiana and came back. So I was down in Florida back in March. So yeah, there was a lot of traveling that was going on.
Yeah, well,
safely, thankfully, everything was good. Didn't get sick. You know, knock on wood. No dreaded sicknesses. You know, however, the cost of going out to eat is ridiculous. You know, I can't believe that. The other thing that shocked me, if you want to talk about travel, you know, and so I going through Georgia, stopping at Buc-ee's, which is madhouse.
Had you never been to one before?
Oh, I've been to Buc-ee's numerous times. There's Buc-ee's. I stop at a couple different Buc-ee's when we go down to Florida too. So I love going to Buc-ee's. Get you know, although the packages of beef jerky have, you know, gone down in size. The price is the same, but you know, there's no 1 pound bags anymore. They're all just, you know, half pound, 8 ounces. You know, it's like what happened to the 1 pound bags? But I couldn't believe, like, we stopped at Wendy's and I was shocked just sitting there eating how many people came up with like DoorDash or like, you know, the call in, you know, fast food stuff. I'm like, God, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, just for me and my family, it was like $60 for fast food. I couldn't imagine paying a premium, you know, to have someone bring me Wendy's. You know, it's amazing about that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that.
Guilty of DoorDash and Wendy's or something.
No, if you want to hear something bad, so my work is right next to a Burger King, but we were so busy one day that I couldn't leave to go get lunch. So I literally, you can walk right up the hill to it. It's like a minute away, if that. And I literally had to DoorDash. I gotta come and get the Burger King just to walk it down the hill to me. I was like, I'm not lazy, I promise, I just can't leave.
Yeah.
Luke was on last week's show, and he said he had a craving at like midnight for wings, and like 38 minutes later, I had fresh hot wings. He says, I love technology. I love this.
Well, I mean, is it like $10 charge, or is it like a percentage of the overall bill?
I think it depends on which you're using. I will go look at my DoorDash app just to be sure.
I don't know. I've never done it. I've never done it, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, the wife has done it a few times. I've never personally done. She has the apps, and I don't. So I will tell you, when we get into a hotel late at night and they've already closed everything at the hotel, it's nicer to be able to have a better selection than just pizza.
Well,
yeah. So that I've taken advantage of. We went to Myrtle Beach, and we stayed, I don't know, 3-4 nights. We never left the hotel property. I mean, they had like a bar and restaurant there, but if it was late or something we wanted, we just call one of the 20 fast food joints and have it delivered.
So I don't know what it depends on, and it could have to do with how much you use the app, but it looks like their standard delivery fee, at least around here, is $3.99. And you just tip the driver however much.
That's cheaper than I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just like an automatic, like $10, you know, something like that.
There's just regular like state taxes in it that, you know, like they take it at the grocery store and stuff.
Oh, because when I went to Louisiana, when I went to Baton Rouge, when I was speaking at their fire instructors conference, and it was cheaper for me to rent a car. I flew into New Orleans. I rented a car, drove up to Baton Rouge, obviously stayed, you know, at the, it was at the La Auberge or something like that casino, and obviously drove back. It was cheaper for me to rent a car and do that than it was for me to Uber or, what's the other one?
Lyft.
Yeah. It was cheaper because it was like $150 one way if I was going to Uber, and I could rent a car for $175, you know, $200,
and be by yourself,
and just I'll drive myself. You know, and I had my own car then. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing.
Yeah, and some things are good, some are bad. Like this thing losing its mind, but apparently I'm still alive everywhere I'm supposed to be. I don't get it. So.
Unbelievable.
All right. Well, we always talk, you know, about. I know you got your book, and we want to talk about that. This audience is probably more geared toward public safety things. So,
sure.
Hopefully, you'll get some revenue from that. And so, talk about your book, and then I know you got some challenge coins to show off too, and some history and stories behind them. The one nice thing about the challenge coins show. Is everyone we have on here talk to, each coin is like a special memory to them. It's like, you know, this guy gave me this, or this celebrated this. So I found that so cool, especially the fire service has carried it on very well. I've seen quite a few good memorial coins and stuff, so it's cool.
It's amazing because if you want to go back, me being a former social studies teacher, I did a lot of, asking around, and it's a military thing. I mean, it actually goes back to Roman times if you really want to, get real specific. The Roman legionnaires used to actually carry pewter or not pewter, lead tokens that they would assign out based on what group you were in, what legion and things like that. And they would actually keep those. It was supposed to be used as barter tokens for money, and a lot of them kept them for sentimental reasons, right? And that's kind of where it went going forward. And even if you keep going forward to, where it got kind of popular here in the United States, it all goes back to the U.S. military. And even goes back, technically some of the first accounts was during World War I. There was a group of real, well-to-do, we'll say well-to-do, guys with money that chose to go over and be pilots for France in World War I before the United States entered the war. And they had developed their own little challenge coin. It was a commemorative coin that had Sitting Bull's face on it. So it was very recognizable, real Americana kind of, design style. And that's kind of where it a little bit started for the U.S. military, was at that time, even during World War I. And you could even go back prior to that, like early 1800s. They used to have these big things called peace coins. They were big 6-inch silver discs. They usually had a president's face, either, carved into it. It was either, sometimes they were made out of wood, but it was whatever current president's face was on there, side profiles, just like, we have most of our coins actually nowadays. And those peace coins were given out to local Indian tribe chiefs when they signed peace treaties.
I did not know.
So if you go back to U.S. history and you go, you find a picture of like, different Indian chiefs, they'd all have these big, discs around their necks in their portraits. That's what those are. They're peace coins.
Oh, okay.
It was a signification that Indian group had signed a peace treaty with, whatever president, and they would get that coin as a proof of, that they're in good standing with the United States government, even though we all, we know that I don't know how good that treaty was actually for them, but so it actually goes back then too. It kind of depends on what your version of history is. So it's quite interesting where it's kind of come through the course of time. Yeah.
And of course, the soldiers would use them a lot of times to put down on the bar to get or free drinks. So
yeah, I mean that's your common, that's your everyday, where they come up with the the word challenge, right? You go to a bar and if you've got your coin, you take your coin, and you put you slap it down on the tabletop of wherever you're at as a challenge, a coin check to whoever is at your group, and everyone else has to take out their coins and slap it down. Whoever doesn't have the coin then has to buy the round. Then opposite, if everyone got their coin, whoever the challenger was, now you owe everybody on the table.
Yeah, it's kind of that's cool. I was on the set as an extra. Clint Eastwood filmed the movie about the Atlanta bomber, and I portrayed a firefighter paramedic. Oh. And at the end of it, he was very nice. He came out and wanted to meet all the responders. He's like, all right, I want to who's the real ones and because we had Atlanta Fire had brought in equipment. They had rented not historic, but antique equipment to come in for the time. And so he came around, he shook all of our hands, talked to us. And the guy from my department that was kind of the senior guy, he gave him our department challenge coin. And Clint takes it, he looks at it, he flips it over, he goes, now I know how you firemen are. I'm not buying any of y'all a damn drink. It was so, he just like that, just picked it up. And he goes, I appreciate this. He goes, I wish I could have a way to give you one of mine. He goes, I keep a collection of them from, I guess, the different shows and places he's been. I thought that was pretty cool. So I know he's being fireman. I'm not buying any of you a drink.
That's very cool that he has all those.
Yeah, and I anticipated him to be a much bigger man, but he really is in TV, Dirty Harry and all the parts he played. I pictured him to be this, big hulking figure, and he's just one of us. So
yeah, that's the normal guy.
But yeah, that was
really Schwarzenegger.
No. I've met The Rock too. The Rock's a pretty big dude. He's a pretty big dude. So, and the mayor of Knox County is also oh God, what was he? The Undertaker? Or no,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What is his
name? Jacobs.
Kind of think what his actual name is.
He doesn't like to be called the Big Red Retard. I know that.
No, Kane. Kane was his wrestling. He was Kane.
That's right.
Oh,
Kane.
That's okay.
He was Undertaker's, like,
He's supposed brother.
Half brother, whatever. But
yeah, they came up with a whole storyline of that, and then I think for like Kane coming up, it was supposed to be like he was supposed to be the one that ended up defeating the Undertaker and all kinds of.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a big thing on. I used to be really into WWE, but I watched a big thing on that, and somebody had found like a storage unit that had all these like antique Undertaker costumes from like him starting out, and he like donated them all to be like auctioned off and donated for, it was a local charity around there. It was really neat.
Yeah, he used to wear that big leather mask. I couldn't imagine trying to wrestle in a big leather mask like that. I mean, you'd think like, man, hard enough to, screw around with all your firefighting gear on and, have a mask on and sweat your, every orifice through everything, couldn't imagine trying to wrestle with the dang thing on.
Yeah, the first time I met him, it was Kane and the Undertaker, both. I was on an ambulance, Knox County Rural Metro, and we were coming in at Children's Hospital. They were coming out. We didn't know they were going to be there, but they brought them out the ambulance entrance so they could have the PD and stuff. And he stopped and talked to all of us. This is before he was mayor. And I mean, I was like, you're a big dude.
Yeah, I think Undertaker is what, 6'7", 6'6", something like that. Yeah. I used to be 6'3". After my back injury, I actually lost like half an inch, so I'm not as tall as I used to be. But yeah.
And the Kane is like 7 foot even.
Yeah, that's a big cat.
Yeah, they're huge. So, but yeah, they're very nice. And actually, to keep with the challenge coin theme, Glenn Jacobs, which is the Kane, he has challenge coins for his agency or his mayoral, I guess his office. I guess it's not agency. So yeah, for his office, you have to earn one of those. He gives them out personally. So, but it is a great tradition.
It is. I mean, it's become more. Obviously, it's lost the military. I mean, the military obviously still does it, and I would argue that most military groups now have their own thing. Where before, even going back to like even World War II, it wasn't common. None of that it didn't really become real commonplace until Vietnam. And some of the reason why it became commonplace during Vietnam was there was a special, what was it, like the first, I think it was like the first Marine recon group or something like that. It was actually, the Navy SEALs hadn't even existed yet.
Oh, wow.
My neighbor across the street from me actually was one of the first. He was in one of the first groups. They didn't have, the Navy SEALs didn't exist. It was a whole amalgamation of a bunch of different groups that kind of came together. It was like Marine Force Recon. They were all scuba trained. They had all these different qualifications. And then the SEALs kind of became something during Vietnam out of that group. And they had a coin. They had a challenge coin but their coin was specific because, as you can imagine, most of the missions and things that they did couldn't be acknowledged. It was one of those things like, I couldn't tell you what I did, I'd have to kill you, kind of a thing. So instead of because in the military, whenever you're in a campaign, you get a campaign medal. I don't have, you get a campaign medal. I was in Desert Storm, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the campaign is, you get a medal. So for them, they couldn't get a campaign of secret covert operations. So they had coins, and one of the CIA came off of that, and they had a special coin. It's one of the more rare coins if you can find one. It's a CIA Mexican, what is it? It's the Mexico City field office it has like 6 skulls on it. And if you have one or you see one, they can't tell you anything about it unless you have clearance. Because all 6 of those skulls represent something, and they can't tell you exactly what happened or what went down or what mission that was or whatever. You got to know, if you're in the know, you know what it is. So, which was made those challenge coins, interesting, specifically to the different groups they're part of. That's why, the challenge coin, the design really meant something. It's not just throw the, U.S. Army, insignia on there, the Navy or the Air Force or the Marines, or, if you're not just throwing the insignia on there, it has to mean something more than just what it is. There's a special thing about it.
Now that you say that, I make coins too, and I've made a couple for different agencies. And a friend of mine, he left Knoxville and works for the FBI in Philadelphia. He asked me to make one. I said, why can't you know exactly what I'm doing, how I'm going to make them? I said, why can't you? He says, we can't. We're not allowed by department. He goes, but it has to have the department seal on one side to be official and approved.
Sure.
He's like, everybody's got that mold. I'm like, okay, cool. So started contacting people, and he sent me the artwork. And it was like, I forget what it was. It was like an eagle swooping down on something. It was a really cool design. And I was like, hey, can I, when I get them in, can I keep one? He's like, oh, no. He goes, this is only for our unit. He goes, we can't give them out. And I'm like, but I made them. Yeah, that's, I never really thought about it, but yeah, that was what they were doing. It was for some in Philadelphia, who knows what the FBI field office was doing, maybe gang task force or something, but it was kind of cool. He's like, yeah, I can't tell you and no, you can't have one. I'm like, oh, you suck.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, like, you're supposed to keep 2 sometimes, right? One to put down in a coin check, and then one you could trade.
Yep.
With somebody.
Yep. Exactly. So it's in my department, we started getting like ones for each station. So it was getting a little carried away. I was like, good Lord, each station's got one now. And that's not uncommon. So, which is kind of cool, because then the county let us start having our own patches. As long as we wore the state approved patch, we could also have the county patch and your station patch. So that was kind of cool that came out of that. So, but then the state got really picky about our uniforms. It was like, you can't do that. So
yeah, sucking the fun out of everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we just said, fine, we'll go to wear t-shirts.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, exactly.
Which pisses off chiefs, that.
Oh, that's the thing, Why don't I want you wearing that to a bar? It's just like, this isn't an official shirt, This is a station shirt,
Right.
Come on. Well, it's got our logo. It's got the Department Maltese on there. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, yeah, it does, but it says Station 30, 32 on the bottom. It's not, You
could buy that in Gatlinburg. That's what I told.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you can, a lot of departments use them as fundraising. I mean, there's not, Detroit. Oh, yeah. I know Detroit Fire. I forget what the name. Sundries, something like that. Detroit DFD Sundries or something like that.com. I mean, they do a Devil's Night shirt every year.
I did not know.
They've been doing Devil's Night shirts for cripes since the early 80s. Yeah. You could get a Devil's Night shirt, just as a fundraising. It's a fundraising for the Detroit firefighter local.
Yeah, I know in DC, they have a local where you can go buy all theirs. They got a really cool shirt. It's 100% cotton. And it's got like 3 buttons right here. It's almost like a Floridian looking thing, and they're allowed to wear that as long as they wear a T-shirt under it, white or blue. It's pretty cool. So yeah, a lot of them do. In fact, my old department is putting one out right now for a firefighter that's battling breast cancer. So I'll be promoting that here on the show. So helping them raise money for the union and for her. So, well, not for the union.
They're union challenge coins too. Like this is the challenge coin we had for the Wausau Fire Department. I don't know if I can. It's kind of blurry, So it's got everything's backwards here. It's got our department logo on it, which I wish I could focus a little bit better. But it's got the blue, kind of like our, like a shirt, like a job shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the reverse, it's got our 1904. Where's the glare? There. It's got a reverse of our 1904 steamer engine.
Oh,
not
nice.
steamer, which is kind of a funny story about that too, but it's kind of hard to see with the glare. But they made these. Oh, I'm trying to think. I think it was partially because everybody wanted to have one. It was one of those kind of things, right?
Oh yeah.
So everyone needed to get one. So we all got one, as members, and then you could buy extras if you wanted. And then the funds went to our local 415. We have a charitable foundation, so some of that went obviously to that as well. But I mean, they're good. Like, let's see. This is the one I got when I was in Louisiana teaching at the Lift conference. So this one's not obviously a coin, or it's not round. It's a coin.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
it's rectangle, right? And it's nice. It's basic, very nice. And then on the reverse, they've got the Louisiana Firefighters Association, and then where it was, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of them too. Like I've seen ones that
like that's our department, my departments before I left.
Yeah, that's fine.
Square. And then on the back, since we wanted to be anti-union, because the union hates paramedics, we had the paramedic patch put on there.
So the whole thing is, even though it's got a round design, it's a rectangle.
Yeah, it's almost like a playing card. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that's I like it. It's pretty neat. The reason that we did that is because our original patch from EMS, before we were taken over by the fire department, you couldn't get into a round shape. The way the patch was laid out, and even if we never technically wore these, this was a big battle with the state. The state patch is also kind of this shape, so you have to wear your department patch on your left, and your right has to be your state identification. And we were rebels, and so and to this day we do not wear the state patch, even though we're paramedics. The county and them have been battling this for years, but it's a matter of pride now with the department. You go into a hospital or something, and of course you're supposed to wear your dress Nomex blue shirt, which 60-40 if you do or not. But if everybody sees the patch, you're like, ooh, you're a DeKalb firefighter paramedic. Yeah, it's us.
So you have to wear your button-up shirt when you're in the hospital?
Wherever we're out in public, we're supposed to wear a button-up.
Okay, when you're in a public gathering, sure. Yeah, we've got the same rule. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, it's 60-40. Are you really going to wear it? I was on the
chief is going to be there, right? If it's one of those things, who's going to find out? And if is there going to be media that will there pick pictures or video of this event?
That's right. Yep, the rules. Yep. It was right at COVID. The county commissioners saw us driving in a fire truck, and they called the chief to complain that none of us were wearing masks. And the chief was like, were they outside of the truck? I said, no, they were driving in the truck. We said, well, they don't need to wear a mask. I said, no, they were within 6 feet of each other and they don't live with each other, so they're supposed to wear a mask. So we had this big memo come down, and we were like, all right, chief, here's the way it's going to work. We love you. We respect your authority, but yeah, we're not going to wear a mask in the truck. You can tell the county commissioners to,
I got written up. I did. It's in my personnel file. Yeah. I got written up. I came out of the ambulance. I was training. I had my probie with me, and she had her mask on, but I had my mask was down under. I had the chin mask on. Yep. And it was because when I talk, I'm loud, and so the damn mask was down by my mouth by the time I was talking. So I'm like, all right, I'm trying to tell her directions, where we're going, what's going on, blah 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 blah. So when we got there, the county health department was on scene. Oh. And as I came out of the rig, as I got out of the ambulance, I went like this. I went from the chin, just popped it up. And so then they called my chief and yada yada yada, Mark. So then I got called in. Mark, did you have your mask on? Did you have your mask on the whole time you were in the rig? I said, no, I did not. I'm not gonna lie to you. No, I didn't. Yeah. I had the chin mask on. I was telling directions and I was talking. You're supposed to hit, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, well, I didn't. Well, I'm gonna write you up. Okay, write me up. Go ahead. Add it to the file.
Yeah, exactly. They gave us, after that, the city council bought us embroidered masks with a little filter, you can pop in the disposable. I was like, Chief, you're hazmat. This doesn't do anything. No, you go to Walmart, you can smell rotisserie chicken. Mm-hmm. You think the COVID's going to die? But yeah, don't get me going. We'll get kicked off YouTube right? With that. But yeah,
let's hope we learned something from that whole experience. That's about all I can say about that. I hope we learned something.
Now, in some places, they're banning them because people are coming in committing crimes. So it's
that's the thing. I mean, think about it.
What did you want? You can't have both.
Yeah, or getting your driver's license taken with a whole freaking. It's just like, how in the hell am I supposed to identify you if you've got a whole thing on your? No, it doesn't work like that. No, I'm sorry.
Yep, it's crazy. So. Well, you worked your way up from the bottom all the way up. So then when you get there, you got to be nice to the people above.
Well, I tell you what, funny that you mentioned that. So yes, first book was about teaching, right? So I did all my, all the years of experience in being a teacher and instructor and all, all that stuff. Put that in the first book, Too Dark 30. It was great, all kinds of cool stuff. Currently, it's on sale right now on the website, toodark30.com. Second book. I just got done with my first draft of the second book. My second book is about all my leadership failures when I was fire chief. Okay. So it's about everything I screwed up. I did this wrong and that wrong and this wrong and this wrong and this. I mean, I went through the whole gambit. I talked, and I had my wife read it, and she's like, that might have been a little too brutally honest, because it was, I literally was like, yeah, I screwed this up. I completely did not, I didn't hold any punches. It's a real big self-deprecation. I was an idiot and I screwed up. And, how do you get yourself fired as a fire chief? This is how you do it in these easy steps, right? That kind of a thing. So, yeah, I'm working on that one. Title yet to be done. I don't know what to do for a title yet, but,
Chaos. Chief is around on scene and effed it up. So
yeah, I mean, I talk about that when I do presentations. I'll ask, which you probably can admit this too. How many well-run fire scenes have you ever been a part of? I can't think of one. It's always a clustering of crap, or stuff that goes wrong. And that includes when I was literally in charge of the scene. I can't tell you if I've ever been in a well-run, one thing or another goes wrong. Absolutely. That's kind of the name of the game,
And I think it's why we go back and we do call reviews afterwards. My last department didn't like that. They didn't like that. I showed up on scene and started telling the engine where to go, truck where to go, and then they were like, "No, we just all pull up and come running." I'm like, "No, that's not the way it works."
Yeah.
They didn't like
that. It can work like that if you don't want coordination. Yes.
Yeah, and because we only had 3 engines. Well, let's see, 2 engines, a Quint, and a senior aerial tower platform. Okay. That was it. That was our whole department. So if we had something, we had to call for help.
Yeah.
So and it's like having come work from a larger department, which the cab is just East Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot quick. They said 10 years with this fire department is like 30, and they weren't lying, because we fought fire every shift. I had a cardiac arrest every shift, and about every other one if I didn't have a shooting, and not to mention extrications and stuff. So we were constantly rolling and doing stuff. So when I went to the smaller department and we were sitting in the station, I was losing my mind. but when we get something, me and a couple of the other guys that came from the other department, we would like race to the front door with the hose, and we were like, yeah. And they were like, "Why are you guys beating the young guys?" It was like, because we know what we're doing and we want to have fun at it.
Yeah.
And then when I get on scene or take command first, oh my God, they hate it. There's a medic in charge. Like, well, you know what? Guess what? So it happens. Until Chief's here, I'm it. So, but yeah, you're right. There is no I could even the ones I was in command of, as few as they were, as a firefighter, paramedic, and I usually was in command first because on the box, first on scene.
Yeah.
And I used to love Fairfax County Fire Rescue drilled scene size up into my head as a volunteer firefighter and an explorer cadet. I learned so much. When I get on scene, my detail, I do my 360. I tell the color of smoke, and these guys are like, "What is he talking about?" And it took a while for them to figure out. And I said, "That's the only way I know how to do it." So, but yeah, you're right. And guilty as charged to get in there first on the box, take the can, and put out a kitchen fire without all the proper PPE and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I'd probably do it tomorrow if I could.
Well, that's the thing too. It's just like you do what you have to do. I'm not going to sit here and watch this person's house burn up, when we can just do something right now while we're waiting for other people to come. You know what I mean? It would be disingenuous of me, to not do something.
I have fought a lot of kitchen fires with a can before the engine got there.
Sure.
So yeah. And I loved every minute of it. So, and quite a few got a good knock on. So
yeah, there was one when I was on a rural fire control in the township. Our response times were probably almost 15 minutes. I mean, it didn't really matter because we were a very rural area. We were 3 separate townships that came together. So it was like 140 square miles, one station. So no matter where you were going, it was always going to be 15 plus minutes response. Oh, wow. So I would usually, depending on where it was, in the southern township where I would just go right to the scene. And I always had my turnout. I had all my gear with me in the trunk of my car. So I get there and I would be on scene. I do a size up. Like you said, I go through my canned responses of blah, 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 blah. This is what's going on, yada, 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 yada. And then I would be like, okay, I will attempt. I'm going to attempt. Everyone's out of the house. Everyone's, so the one thing that I remember was there was a guy that he had an outdoor wood stove that I don't remember how it happened, but his outdoor wood stove, the shed that he had the stove in caught fire. So him and I got there and he's like, oh, he's trying to do some stuff with a garden hose. I'm like, this isn't going to cut. It's not close enough. And it's just, it's pissing in the wind, right? Kind of a thing. I'm like, do you have any like colanders? Do you have any like spaghetti, pans, big buckets? And his wife's like, oh yeah. I'm like, go fill them up. Go get a bunch of them. Go fill them up right now. So we just did a bucket brigade. And we, throwing in. And we just did that. And honestly, that was plenty. It was enough, Engine finally got there, and I'm like, all right, we're good. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, and they hate that too.
Oh yeah, this is the worst. It's like when you pull up on scene in the police departments put out the fire with their fire extinguisher. It's like, what do you mean? What did you do? Don't do that. No, you're not supposed to do that.
Yep. So if you could have passed the civil service, you could have been a fireman. Look.
Yeah, yeah. If you'd done better on the test, you would have been okay.
Damn wannabes.
That's right. They are wannabes. But I love them. But they get a little squirrely too. So yeah. I had a smoke diver in Tennessee teach us a class, and they roll out the simulation. It's the tractor and trailer thing. It's the truck part, or where they put stuff. It's the carrier part, and they converted that to a mobile classroom.
Sure.
He said, I can put out a good room and contents fire with 2 gallons of water.
You can, absolutely.
And I was real young at the time. I was like, oh, he's full of shit.
Yeah.
And he took us in and showed us, and I was like, that's pretty amazing. So yeah, I mean, it can be done.
Yeah.
So
you got a can.
You do it, but
yeah, you got a pressurized water can. It no problem. Yeah.
Oh yeah, PW can. I love those things. I wish I had one for my car right now, to be honest with you, just to carry with me.
I'm sure you can get one on eBay.
Probably. You can get everything on eBay. But now we have to worry about the electric cars.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different, yeah. I mean, the training that we've had before I medically retired out, it was all about cut this wire, don't cut these. If it's a big, thick orange wire, this is the one you want to see, all that kind of stuff. And most of them have kill switches, or they've got some sort of a pull brake where you can pull to discharge the system. Some of the newer ones actually have extinguishment systems in them. But most of it, I mean, the ones that I've gone to, there've only been a couple of actual fires, electrical vehicle fires before I was out, but you don't have enough water. I mean, there's literally,
That's what we trained, and I finally got our chief to see it. Basically, set the aerial up, sprayed out on it, set a master stream up, aimed under it to try and cool at the same time. I said, that's about all you can do. And you better have 2 positive water supplies because you're going to be there a while.
Well, it's even to the point where I even brought up, I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Let it burn. Just let it go. Everyone's out. No one's inside. The car is a loss. We're not saving anything, Set up a perimeter and we're just going to let that sucker burn. I mean, it's not, we will never have enough water. So just let the sucker, let it burn itself out. We'll stay and watch it. But they didn't like that because we got to do something.
Yeah. And that's what I told the chief. I said, you got 2 master streams. That's what you got. You got one above, one below.
Yeah. Right.
That's what you're going to get.
Yeah. But then technically, if you really want to get technical, then it becomes a hazmat issue. Right?
Yes,
because now you got nickel cadmium or whatever you got draining out of those batteries, and you're creating a pool, and better set up some sort of a. It's just like
yeah, I agree. Let the EPA get upset about it.
Yeah, let the sucker go. Or the only other thing that I found that worked, at least the research. Dirt.
Yeah.
Water, you're never going to do it, but if you smother it enough with dirt, you got a better chance.
Yep.
I've seen these other things now they come out with that are like big blankets.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. So.
Yeah, I don't know. And then it's like, well, who's going to hold that down? What if there's a nice strong breeze that takes that sucker like a sail or so? You know what I mean? Like
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Once those batteries reach that, what do they call it? The runaway effect, where there's no stopping it. They're burning themselves. You know what I mean? So
exactly, yeah.
It's a self-ignition point. They don't even need oxygen at that point. It's a chemical reaction. So good luck.
Yeah, dirt is the best. So, but yeah, I don't think we trained for them, but I don't know that we ever had one. I can't recall having one, but we trained for them. And we even on some car fires, if we pull up and we had time to play, we'd even set it up real quick just to see. The media always dug that, but I don't think we had one. So, but I don't know. And we were talking about bikes and scooters earlier. I can't imagine being on an electric bike or scooter and nothing catching on.
Well, and that's the thing. I know, like, you like you see it on Facebook. The New York Fire Department is always posting these different e-bike fires, or were those? They're not scooters. They're like skateboardy things. What do they call them with that one wheel in the middle? Hoverboard or something. Not the Back to the Future hoverboard, but like
it's one of the
wheel hoverboard or something.
It's like a upgraded version of a hoverboard they made. It's almost like half Segway, half hoverboard. Yeah. You stand on either. They remind me of that exercising tool that you hold on to and you roll out. Yeah. But you have your feet on either side and the one big wheel in the middle, and you can.
I've seen pictures of those, starting fires, because people will have them just plugged in. It's just a normal plug-in and an outlet. Well, it's like anything. If you leave it plugged in or whatever, that gets hot, and then if something falls on the top of it, just like an extension cord, you put a bunch of blankets over the top of an extension cord, it's going to catch on fire.
The Christmas that the hoverboards were that big and they were like all catching on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with that dry Christmas tree.
Yeah, right. Throw how many gallons of lighter fluid do we want to flow into a room with combustibles? But I can't. Those are just. It's just going to get worse. So room of contents fires for that are going to go up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know if you can contain it to a room. I mean,
it depends. Right? At that point, that 2 gallons, your water can ain't going to put that sucker out if it's reached a runaway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, old school room of contents, yes. New school room of contents with possible batteries in it, I don't think the 2 gallons ain't going to do it.
Yeah, all these years we traded in the 80s, now they added all the stuff made of petroleum. Well, now we just add electricity to the petroleum.
Yeah. Great idea. Fantastic.
It was.
And all well built in China, so don't worry about that.
Oh, absolutely. It's
guaranteed it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's got that UL stamp on it. It's upside down. It's on
best products out there you can get.
Yeah.
You're my Temu girl. She buys everything from Temu. I've never downloaded or tried the app yet, but she's always showing me these really cool things. So
yeah, you get it for $1.
Well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. Yeah, exactly. Like anything in life.
Yeah.
Thankfully, with anything like that I've ever bought, I haven't had any issues. So, but I don't tend to buy electronics and stuff from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fire service has changed. It's changing, and unfortunately, we're going through this thing now where in public safety we have to cut money. So it's not a winning situation, especially for a chief administrator. So,
the thing that the people that I still talk to, a lot of it is just recruitment and retention. It's just you can't find anyone to want to do the job anymore. And when you do find someone that is even remotely interested in the job, it's just you can't treat them like we were treated, because it's different. The generations are different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I know a lot of the salty old timers are like, this is ridiculous. These damn kids nowadays, blah 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 blah. It's like, well, okay, yeah. Part of it is that, absolutely. But the thing is, we can bitch and complain all we want, but it is what it is. So we have to roll with it and try to fix it and try to figure out what the best solution is. Or you're just going to sit there and piss and complain and be left with nothing.
Believe it or not, it's like that in a lot of industries right now.
Yeah,
too.
It's not just this one. You're right.
No, and I've been called to IA for treating a rookie bad. Guilty. I mean, did I do anything wrong?
It's not hazing. We're just showing him not how to do it. That's all.
Well, if he wasn't so stupid the first time, then maybe we wouldn't have this problem.
We got hit out at 3 a.m. for a structure fire. Our immediate. We're coming out of bed into our truck, and I have no idea. I just got assigned to the station, detailed down from another station up north. So I didn't know the territory real well. My rule is follow that engine.
Yeah.
Senior man on the engine knows where he's going. There's no way around that. I hop in the ambulance. I look in the mirror. I can see him on his head. He's getting in full turnout gear, including his air pack. What are you doing? Shit on, get up here. And I was like, all right, follow the engine. Well, we done lost him, but he's trying to get in the ambulance with the SCBA out, and he goes, they told us to be ready when you get off the truck.
Not this truck. The engine truck. If you're on that truck.
That's correct. But
yeah.
So we ended up
situational
Rescue
awareness.
23 was coming out of the hospital, and they're like, "Oh, we're closer than them. We got this as the second ambulance." And I'm like, "Oh!" So I'm going through. He didn't know how to use a GPS. So I'm on my phone. I'm trying to find directions. 3 o'clock, half awake. Ain't got my glasses on. We arrived second to ambulance and our first to. I was livid. So, Chief, of course, what assignment we're going to get? Rehab.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I hate rehab with a passion. I mean, it's a good thing to have, all that, yada, yada. But I'd rather be having the fun.
Yeah.
And so I told Rookie, I said, I want everything off that truck put on this stretcher. And I'm making him roll it up over the hoses uphill. It's cold, wet, snowing. And as we're passing Rescue 23, which is ironically parked right behind Engine 11, I grabbed him by the collar. I said, do you see what that says? Pointing at Rescue 23. And he's like, huh? What? I says, not effing 11! Not effing 11!
It's the wrong number that should be behind that thing. It's not the right number.
And the chief is like, what the hell's Glenn doing down there? Because I got him by the collar and I'm shaking him. He never came back to the department after that.
Yeah, he quit. I don't know why he couldn't handle it. Yeah.
You were just making sure his training was correct.
Yeah. It was. I mean, looking back, probably was wrong to do, but in the heat of the battle at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you
won't forget now.
Well, he's no longer in public. Well, he's not with that county, but I got called into IA because he quit. He didn't even show up the next shift. They tried to call him. He's like, I don't want anything to do with the department. So I got called to IA over it. And the chief was there. He said, well, I witnessed him, but I was up the street busy. He had him by the... Yeah, I did. So.
The thing is, too, like, if someone did that to you, you would, okay, what did I, I effed up. I should have done this. And, we got it. Yes, you will take your punishment. I will take my beration, I'll take the.
And
yes.
I won't do it again.
I going forward, I will have learned from this. That's exactly right. Yeah,
If there's a memo, it's even better. So if you have a memo created about you, you're a god in fire department.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a special rule in your honor. So it's a different generationally. It's just it's very different than it was, and the problem is a lot of the chiefs and a lot of the officers and a lot they don't understand how this whole generation is. And the thing is, this is not new. And that's the thing that a lot of people need to understand. This is not new. Every generation hates the generation before. That's just how history is. My grandpa's generation, they were all he was born in 1917. It's called the silent generation. So his generation complained about baby boomers, because they were lazy, hippies, and they were because that's what they did. My dad's generation, he was a baby boomer. They grew up in the 50s and 60s where everything was great, free love. I'm going to grow my hair out and we're going to smoke dope and everything's going to be fantastic. Peace, man. It's fine. Hey, brother, no big deal. Why are you making such a big deal about this? And then you go into, Generation Xers, my group, we were the children of the baby boomers. So What do we think? Well, those freaking baby boomers are the ones that screwed everything up because of their peace, love, sex, and drugs, Right. And then the generation after me, after, Gen X is millennials. Well, who do we complain about? Well, so, the millennials complain about us. If they weren't so, every generation hates the generation before. That's just, that's how life is, and we all, and the other thing about generations is we all remember
hate the one behind them and hate the one in front of them.
Yes. And we have very selective memory about how great things used to be. We only remember the good things. Yep. We don't actually remember the bad things. Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we have a really rosy painted picture of how things were when we were kids, whether it's real or not.
Yeah, so, there might have been a bell or two involved, but the food was so much better.
Yeah, well, that's which is funny because my wife and I were talking about just that's the exact same thing. Because we're sitting there and we're thinking about dinner. What are we going to have for dinner? What are we going to make for dinner? All these different things. We try to plan a list, right? We try to, every day is a different thing. And we're getting sick and tired of making the same stuff all the time, right? So we're like, what did we have when we were kids? A whole lot of casseroles. That was one thing, which my girls are not going to eat casserole. This is not going to happen. Hamburger helper,
pudding Jello.
Yeah, exactly, right. A lot of hamburger helper, a lot of mashed. My dad's classic meal was mashed potatoes and hamburger patties. That's what he would make. No bun, just a hamburger patty and mashed potatoes. That was it.
Maybe some green beans or peas on the side. Yep.
Yeah, and that's my wife, her dad would make some sort of a bean. He'd heat up some sort of canned bean soup and he'd cut up hot dogs and put it in the beans, And there you go. That's dinner. And if you didn't want to eat it, you're on your own.
You're shit out of luck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. Me and my mom argue about this today. She was a pastry chef and a confectioner, so I was going to be a fat kid no matter what. And we still argue about. I said, Mom. Do you remember? Most people have, mom's chili, mom's meatloaf, mom's fried chicken. I said, I don't have any of that. I said, I got mom's cakes, mom's cupcakes, mom's cookies. So what the hell did you feed me as a kid? I don't remember a meal growing up. And she still gets mad at me about that. She's like, stop bringing that up. You didn't survive. Look at you. And I'm like, what did you make? I don't remember a meal that you made. And yeah, you're right. There's nothing better than a fried bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
That's like me with some stuff. And I'm like, I know that's a normal thing that everybody eats, but what's in it? Because that doesn't look like how my mom made it.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't look right. Doesn't taste right. Doesn't smell
right. Doesn't smell like how mom makes it. I'm not eating it.
Well, and you need to bring it back to the fire station now, because most of the time, Shay, you're not probably familiar with firehouse traditions, but you're supposed to eat together. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You're there for 24 hours. Now it's impossible. Well, I don't eat. I'm gluten-free, or I'm
vegan.
I'm vegetarian. Like, what else? So it's like,
yeah, you're right.
There's food in there. Eat it.
Yep. So for us, we had 4 guys at a house. Now we're up to 5. We had a safer grant, so we added a third guy on a rotation between the engine and the med. Anyway, so when I was there, it was still 4. And usually it was the lieutenant, the engineer, and then the lead firefighter medic, and then the junior guy, fire medic. So dinner was always done by the engineer.
Yep.
So we usually would pony up $20 for the shift. And our shift was the 3 days. So the engineer was responsible to come up with a menu, And the station, when I was at Station 2, we had a guy, he didn't like to cook. Our engineer, he wasn't a good cook and he didn't like to cook. So whenever it was his turn to do it, I would volunteer as the senior medic. I would be like, hey, I'll cook. I love cooking. I love to cook. So I would text the guys what my meal plan was for the next 3 days and then how much it was going to cost. And it was always less than $20 because I would make like chicken fried rice for one day. I would make pasties, which they all love, which is a Cornish. It's from Cornwall. I don't know if you guys have ever had a pasty, but it's kind of like a calzone, but it's like it's a wrap with meat, potatoes, carrots in it, all just together. It's called a pasty. Fantastic. I'd make different things like that, which are not expensive, right? Yeah. But another guy, if we'd have a replacement engineer, this other guy, he was always telling us, bring $30. We're like, what? When Mark cooks, it's like $12 for everybody. But when, Charlie over here comes in, it's like $30. It's like, what the hell's going on here? And so that went on for years. But then it started to change. One guy was like, well, I'm going to go vegetarian now. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to bring my own thing. And then another guy's like, well, I'm doing keto, so I'm not going to do, all this different stuff. So then we got a keto guy, we got a vegetarian guy. So it would just be me and another guy eating, but at least we'd eat together still. Yeah. So if everyone was having their own thing, okay, fine. But at least we're still eating together, Yep. Now it doesn't even happen. Everyone kind of finds a different corner.
Yeah, my old department, not every station eats together. So
it's sad.
I respect an officer, a captain. Well, I had a captain at 15 at DeKalb, and he said every night at 8 o'clock, you're going to be at this table, whether you eat or not. You're going to be at this table. Mm-hmm. This is our time together. And I just gained so much respect for it. That was his rule, And we may have a late dinner at 8 o'clock. We may have already ate, but every night at 8 o'clock, we're all going to be here at this table.
Yeah,
and every shift, and it was just that was the way his captain was. That was the way he was when he became captain, and I always had great respect for that. And it was because there's nothing like that. It's like we're doing right here. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, we're talking fire stuff. We're probably boring Shay to death, but
I'm learning things. So
see,
which is not bad either, right? I mean, that's the thing,
No, Shay is actually, I guess I should introduce her better. She's my production assistant. We're growing and we're getting on FM stations and we're getting on cable stations and stuff. And it's gotten so much for me to handle. I was finally like, okay, we don't get paid, but I need help. And so she is like an angel come to rescue me. So she's my production assistant. So she's great. So she keeps me organized. So just God knows is a task.
I try.
It's fun.
But no, you're right. It has to come from the top. Whoever's in charge, right?
Absolutely.
That's the thing. If it's the captain, it's the lieutenant, if you got an actor for the day, I don't care who it is, whoever's in charge. And the thing is too, if you don't have someone that wants to take that responsibility, if that person, whoever that person is, if they don't want to say that, then if you want that, because you should want it, then you say, hey, can we all just eat together, please? It's sometimes that simple. Just say, hey, can we just please sit together and eat? I'd love for us all to sit together. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. If they all tell you to go pound sand, well, then you tell them to go pound sand.
You're going to bed without dinner.
Yeah, right? At least you try.
What was funny is I remember at my second, the smaller department that I went out on, I remember the moment I realized that I was the senior man because you don't even understand. There's a ranking system in the station. There's the rookie who's the low guy, the new guy. Then there's the next guy up, and the senior man is usually the driver. Not always, but usually.
Well, my former boss did firefighters and stuff, so
you're a little familiar with it.
Yeah.
So if there's a problem, instead of going to the sergeant or lieutenant, you go to the senior man first.
Yeah.
And the day I realized I was the senior man, I'm like, I'm not that old. They were coming to me. And I was like, no, don't come to me. I still go to them.
I don't want that responsibility. Too bad you got the responsibility.
Yeah. And, at DeKalb, the one nice thing about DeKalb burned me out. I was crispy when I left there. We were running 28 plus calls on a shift, 24-hour shift on the box. I mean, I was young at the time, loved it, but there towards the end, I couldn't take it. I was done. Yeah. And But one of the things that they instilled is you're a paramedic. The rookies are going to come to you, and you have them most of the time for their first year. It's your responsibility to make. And now that I've been gone from that department for 10 years, almost every one of my rookie is captain up. Yeah, and I feel really some kind of way about that. And I know they're good people. So it's kind of like, that was cool to see.
You can be proud of yourself.
Yeah. Well, but see, the thing,
proud of them.
I never pictured myself off of tailboard. That's all I ever wanted to be was tailboard. That's how I ended up getting injured, taken out, you know. That's all I ever wanted to be was tailboard. The tailboard trash. You got no responsibility. Technically, you got all the responsibility, but
yeah. Little do we know, right? Little do we know.
Yeah. Tailboard Shay is the position you either sit behind your officer, who's the passenger, or you sit behind the driver, who's usually the senior man. And tailboard is the one that hops off and determines what we're going to attack the fire with and where, while the officer's out doing whatever it is officers do. And
he's doing a 360. What are you talking about?
Doing a 360, yeah. So I remember a 360 I did through the basement, or not the basement, I guess it was the lower floor of Garden Apartments. My 360 consisted of dragging the hose line through the front door out the back to hit the fire from the rear of the structure. The chief gets there, he goes, "Do you think that was a really good idea?" And I'm like, "Yeah, probably not."
Yeah. Hindsight, I should have went around. Yeah.
But it worked, so suck it.
But then I've had they'll charge the damn 2-inch. You gotta try and get around the building, and I forget how much 1 gallon of water weighs, but a 2-inch hose got a lot of gallons of water. So, and it's always cold and kill the line. Don't drag the 2-inch. But yeah, it's nice seeing the progress that the departments have made, especially here in the area. And I still keep up with a lot of the other departments because I've got friends like in Fairfax. I'm really close with a lot of all the guys that I was there with are out retired 10 years now probably, but they were a lot of the senior guys I looked up to. And so I learned a lot from them. But it's good to see the history and the tradition, especially with the challenge coins, is still going on. And a lot of departments are now looking forward to, or not forward, but approving them and putting them out, letting the guys do it. You know, back when we were, well, I don't know, maybe not when you were, but when I remember it was a big deal to earn your station patch.
Yeah.
You know, and there for a long time, you couldn't wear it, but you could earn it. So I mean, we would sometimes they would end up being glued on outside the turnout gear, and if they got a little burned up, that was even better. So
yeah, and a lot of it too, like for us, it was a seniority thing. So you couldn't even get to an outside house until you had seniority to be able to get out and be on the outside houses.
Yeah, So it's changed, and I love the fact now you were talking about the shape of the coins. Yeah, they're all different now. I wish Cap was here. Corey was here with his. He's got his is this shape of the state of Montana. He's I forget his official technical. He's like a marshal with the division in Montana, and his coin is the state with barbed wire wrapped around it. And so that's where I came up with the barbed wire idea for the one I did.
Show yours.
Yeah. I made this. This is the first time anybody's going to get to see it, so it's kind of cool.
It's an unboxing. My youngest daughter likes that whole unboxing videos. I don't understand that. It's another kid unboxing something. I don't understand.
No, it's funny you say that. We designed a coin for Miranda Maverick, which she's an MMA fighter. And she's going to be selling. And we asked her if she would come on the show. And she's like, "Oh, when I get him, I'll do a complete unboxing video." I was like, "Okay, cool." So yeah, it's funny you say that. Okay, let me in. I'm going to do it on my phone so it looks much clearer. Wow, that's right. I got to open this in Chrome. You'd think I would know how to run my own software. There we go. Yep, join. Come on. Yeah, this one I came up with. Based it on Corey's with the barbed wire. And of course, right now, we're having the Texas border crisis. So I thought that it would be. Yes, now I got to let myself in the studio. All right, so I designed this. The Bowie knife. Bowie knife is the state knife of Texas from Remember the Alamo.
Of course.
And of course, we have the Texas Star, which is in 3D, and it's wrapped in barbed wire. It's a different color barbed wire than the outer barbed wire. And I came up with this. It's the same on both sides because it's a pretty simple statement. Come and take it. And it was a really complex design to make. But I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I actually just got them today, so I'll be posting them up for sale later tonight on a lot of the challenge coin groups here on Facebook. So,
what's the size?
2.5 inches.
And how thick is it? It looks pretty thick.
I think it's 4 millimeters. It's actually a little bit thicker because you can see the knife up there is 3D and sticks out a little bit higher. So when it sits on it.
It's amazing detail on the texture.
I will be honest, I didn't think this one was ever gonna come to be because I had to, I won't say argue, but the salesperson, I went back and forth quite a bit. There was a language barrier and they didn't understand what I wanted into it. I mean, like for instance, the Texas shape is in the Bowie knife.
Yeah,
and she didn't understand what the significance of that was. She's like, well, we can't put it in there. That's too small. And I'm like, yeah, you can. I know better. So, but yeah, it took some doing, but I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. It's a heavy coin. It's like 3 ounces. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more expensive to purchase, but I think people will really be happy with it. But I will show you, we're talking about making things for stations. This is one of my favorite coins. So this is, of course, it's a minion with guns. I don't know if you remember, Escambia County had a police officer that they had arrested a gentleman for domestic violence, and he had been patted down, cuffed, and placed into the cruiser. Well, he went back up to the other officer who was making the report. It was a female officer who was making the report of the female. As he was walking back to his patrol car, he said he was shot and he was hit. And so he did what you're trained to do, drop and roll and empty 2 clips into your cruiser. Well, the problem was, what it really was an acorn had fallen out of the tree and hit the car as he was walking by, and it made a loud pop, and the acorn bounced off and hit him in the neck.
Are you serious?
No, the video's all over Facebook. Escambia PD had to release the body cam, and they had
wow.
He emptied his service weapon into his own car?
A clip and a half. A clip and a half.
Clip and a half?
And said he was hit. And the other officers who were up the street on the scene come running down, their guns drawn, ready to go. And they're like, where is he? Where is he? He's like, he's in the cruiser. And luckily, it turned out he wasn't even guilty of domestic violence. It was a false claim against him. Luckily, he was never hit.
Oh, my God.
But the cruiser was totaled. So this is a coin that somebody, I won't say they were hazing, but they made. And there's a couple of them, but this is the one I liked. But yeah, the angry acorn is coming to get you.
Wow.
Yeah. And this, I'll show this a little bit better. This is my department's coin. It's more of a medallion. And that's actually not the current. No offense, but you chiefs change logos so dang off, or change patches. This is actually now the new one. I never wore this one. This is the new one for the county. And once again, it couldn't have been made in a round shape either. But there's a lot of symbolism in there. The stars each represent one of the cities within the county. And what is it? The Peace or Freedom Medal? I can't remember there's a lot of things put into this one, kind of like I wish I had one for ours at Station 19, which was a hazmat. We had a huge patch, and each thing represented something, so that was kind of cool.
talk about patches. So here you go. When I was chief, talk about chiefs changing patches.
Yeah.
So this was the patch of the fire department that I became chief at. I hated it.
Yeah.
I did straight to the point.
It's nostalgic from the 50s with the Tonka truck, that kind of thing. So
Gatlinburg, yeah.
And this was the patch when I was the chief.
Nice.
Cool.
So we went from that. Let's see, we'll back up a little bit. That to that.
And how many guys did you have fight you about changing the patch?
Not as many. That was talk about in the book. Talk about stuff I should have done, or not as many as I thought. Because a lot of people didn't like the old one.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was trying to change it, and this part of the logo,
got a bad word on it, by the way.
The eagle. Yeah, I know, right? The eagle. This is the Village of Rothschild's actual symbol.
Okay.
So it was part of their logo letterhead, and all the welcome signs. They all have this big eagle going over the Wisconsin River with this is Rib Mountain in the back. So that's a symbol for the Village of Rothschild. So I'm like, well, that's a cool picture, And then I took this is like your California style, going off of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just, not as many fought me on that than other things, but.
Well, did they, with you putting the word EMS on there?
Well, you know how it is. Even when, so this is where I retired from, medically retired. So Wassa Fire. This is your Joe average standard, typical fire department patch, right?
Yep.
And then it's kind of hard to see. So the challenge coin is, so for the Wassa Fire, that's what the new patch looks like. So old versus new, right? That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we were all firefighter medics, but 90% of our calls were EMS.
Yeah.
We were part-time volunteer, we were volunteer part-time firefighters that, we were paramedics most of the time,
Yeah, people don't get that. So, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the last department I was with, I should have left my other camera on, but it should come in fairly clear. Theirs is pretty simple. It's a city seal and a Maltese cross. So it's pretty basic. I made this one. This is not state or city approved. My sergeant passed away when I was out on FMLA, and I personally made this coin in recognition of his and the department, because they refused to admit that he died because of cancer from the job. And while I was out on injury leave, they refused to acknowledge it. So that's a forbidden coin. None of the firefighters were allowed to buy it. So,
really,
yeah, I think it was shitty, but it was a chief or assistant chief's orders. I can say that legal battle is over now. So
that's too bad.
Yeah, but so that I keep that on my desk to remind me of. He was probably one of my best officers, so I keep that on my desk to remind me of him. But nobody at the department was allowed to buy it. That's ridiculous, Chief. It's why he was. We can't prove that he died because of that. I said, can you prove he didn't?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what is it you're doing different? The state's still going to give him money.
Yeah.
What is it you're going to do different? You're going to acknowledge you had a line of duty death in your department? Let's face it, it's going to happen eventually, no matter what department you're in. So you don't want it to, but you could be sitting out front of the station anymore and somebody just do a drive-by. I mean, that happens at a lot of stations. So
yeah, that's one of the things. So in that second book that I'm wrote, I took over for a fire chief that died after an EMS call. So literally when I went and toured the station, there was black bunting still sitting in the corner of the station. I thought it was garbage bags at first. I'm like, what is it? And I got over to it. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. It was one of those things like hindsight. It's like, man, what were you doing? Try to take over for a guy that had just died in the line of duty and everyone loved. And, it's just like,
Yeah. I only interviewed for one chief's position, and I actually thought I had it. I'm still not convinced I didn't because of where I live and some of the things that I put in there. I wanted like relocation and stuff. When I came in, I told them I pulled their department stats up. I pulled up all the things in their community that were bad that could blow up or kill you. Sure. And I went in and I was like, okay, so your department right now is strictly EMS. Great news. You need 4 more ambulances. And hey, you have no aerial trucks. And so I went in with a whole platform of things that we needed and everything. They had a presentation and they loved it. And I got a second interview and I thought, I got this job. But I think technically the reason I didn't is because the person that did get the job had more experience, I think, than me, but he didn't have to relocate. So I think that was the big factor. But looking back like now, I am so glad that I didn't take the job because the responsibility that comes with the chief, nobody understands till you've been in it. And
it's all politics.
Just from that process of just going through the hiring process. It was a small town in Virginia, right on the coast, which presented even new problems for someone like me who'd never been near a large body of water. It's like, all right, I got to do some homework on this. So it's a lot of responsibility that I wouldn't want. And so
it's just, you don't know until you do it, and then you do it, and you're like, man, what in the heck? Because you got so many people wanting things from you, and
Yep. And then you got to count to the other people, the bean counters, and those are the ones that don't understand the bigger picture. So
no, you're ends, and it's hard.
When I went out medically retired, one of the biggest fights I had was with human resources. They said, well, you don't have enough time to retire. I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, you've got to have 20 years in. And I said, well, that's great, but you're talking about a 40-hour employee. Mm-hmm. And I sat down and did the math, and I said, if you're a full-time firefighter within 13 years, a 40-hour week person, you've already surpassed them. Hour-wise, 2,080 a year.
Yeah, you're usually averaging 56-hour weeks.
Yep. If you're at a good department where you can do that, because some departments are, like you said, mandatory 48s, and especially for medics. And so it's if you can, and she's like, well, but you didn't do this, and you're missing the point totally. So the bean counters don't get it. No. And, but I was lucky and I was glad. I had one guy training, and I'm good friends with him. He taught me something when I came through DeKalb. Coming from Fairfax, I went to Fairfax to Knoxville, and then I was really humbled and quiet when I came to DeKalb. But one thing he said is learn something you can every day you can about a job that's trying to kill you every day it can.
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest quote for a training officer because he's absolutely right. Whether you're talking about riding down the street, you need to know your territory. There's parts of the territory you may not be in, shouldn't be in. There's areas, there's different cultures, there's different diversity now than there was, a long time ago. The stuff like we were talking about in the actual room and contents, used to it was made with wood, cloth. Now it's all, petroleum based and now rad, like I said, with electrics to it. So
watch out for any acorns.
Acorns will kill you. But in fairness to that guy,
take something away, learn something. I mean, that's the thing. Like even if you're not, it's like one of those things is just like, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. If you know that you have a lot of things to learn, hopefully you're humble enough to accept that fact that I don't know everything, and nor will I ever know everything. But you know what? I can at least get better at some things. So just little things. You don't have to know everything overnight. Work on one thing at a time. Work on getting better at one thing at a time. Keep doing it until you can't get it wrong. Just keep
do it in
doing
your sleep.
the same thing.
Yep, and it's the same with being a paramedic.
Yeah,
I had a guy tell me, it was an officer telling me, he said, you can't be a good firefighter and a good paramedic. It's not possible. And I said, I totally disagree. I said, I think you're coming at the wrong angle. You're supposed to love and have a passion for what you're doing.
Yeah.
I said, I don't have a career. I mean, I have a career, or this is a job where I come in with my coworkers and stuff. It's not just punch the clock.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have a passion for it. That's the thing. And it's not just a normal job. It's not. This isn't. There are so many things that you can kill a person with freaking normal saline, for God's sakes. So it's a life or death job, and everything that we do, no matter if you're starting a bag of saline, or you're actually trying to make a grab, and you're actually doing a search and rescue for a kid that's under a chair, whatever the hell the situation is. Someone's life is in danger. Either it's your life, your partner's life, your crew's life, or a victim's life, or your patient's life. And you can't take that as I don't get paid enough, or I don't get paid enough to give a shit. That's not the same mentality. You cannot have that. It's an hourly job wage mentality, because it's not. No. Literally and figuratively, it cannot be that way. This isn't working at Wendy's. This isn't working at any job, any other job. This is different. It's 100% different. It's going to be 100% different. And if you're not okay with that part, then this is not a job for you.
And that's okay.
That's fine. I'd rather you find that out now, than 2 or 3 years, or whatever down the road, halfway through probation, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. You get one berate, at 3:30 in the morning for, not making the fine, but, pull up your big boy pants and, learn from your mistakes and get going.
Yeah. In my last rookie class, I had to go back through rookie school when I got hired at the last department. And of course I was the old man. I still passed it, did everything we can. We had he was a local guy that played college basketball for, I think University of North Georgia. I don't know. It wasn't like a SEC college, but he was a good player. He was physically fit. He was tall. He was in shape. He was great doing the 2-minute drill, getting your gear on, doing all the physical stuff. Our very first day at Live Burns, they had to tackle him because he freaked out and went to pull his mask off and stood up. And of course, the safety and training officers grabbed him, and he come out. He said, "I don't ever want to do that again." And it was like, well, I'm glad you found out now. Yep. And by the way, glad you didn't get killed while you found out. Yep. So, yeah. And, the training officer was doing what training officers do that first time. Yeah. It's going to get hot. You're going to melt your you're going to melt your shield, but have some fun doing it. Well, I popped
Here's your classic melted. Here's my flashlight.
Yep.
It was, classic melt on the side of your, How hot is it? Hot enough. You come out, it's all melted up.
Yeah. With the finger indentations on the side.
Yeah, like, what, this thing? Oh, whoa, it's hot. Yeah, whoa. It was hotter there than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the training drill where they were testing me, because it was the old man, I was the medics. The training officer's like, "Come here," and he gets me up there. He's getting hot, and I'm like, "Okay, I've been in some pretty hot jobs. I'm not coming out of this. You're gonna have to kill me." And my Scott was one of the ones that was recalled. It hit a pinhole leak, and I felt it the minute that thing cracked. Didn't give one bit. I come out and I still didn't have my glasses on. Of course, it was all fogged up at the time. I cooled off long enough to get everything off because I was steaming. They were undressing me as I was steaming. And so everything cools off. I'm looking at my face piece. And so I called, he was our senior man at the station. I called him over. I said, "Hey," I said, I don't have my glasses on. I said, but I can't clean this off. It's fogged. And I said, we got to go back in there. And he goes, what's wrong with your forehead? And I'm like, oh, I got a little hot. It had a pinhole leak. I was getting burnt. I burnt off all my eyebrows on the left side. I singed my upper eyelid. It just had a pinhole leak. Went and showed that to the assistant chief. And he's like, you're going to the hospital. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, how hot do you got it going on in there? Yeah.
Melt the face. We didn't melt it. But it was one of the defective ones. I asked the chief later if I could have it back. And he's like, hell no, you'll sue me.
Yeah. It's a souvenir.
I earned that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, admit it. If you could go back and do it again today, would you?
Yes.
Yeah. Tailboard.
I would do things differently. Obviously hindsight the way it is. If I going back what I know now, yes. I would do things differently. And it's one of those things, right?
Yep. It's not just it's a career, it's a life, so you love it. So passion. Did you keep your numbers after you retired?
Did I what?
Did you keep your numbers, your paramedic numbers?
I just renewed my medic just in March.
Yeah, me too.
I still got it. I still technically I'm not affiliated anymore,
I know that was the weirdest thing to put down. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I still teach. So, I still teach. I still go and, I'll judge during, registry and, things like that. And so, I mean, I do refreshers, I'll teach medic refreshers and stuff like that. So I'm still involved in the teaching aspect, but I'm not on the box anymore. No.
Yeah. I don't think I'd get back on the box again. Out of all the jobs, I don't think
that was
good.
That one you got. Yeah, I'd go back on the engine, but yeah, the box.
Well, it's totally different now. I remember one of my last times we would get basic boxes. If it was an ALS call, you had to ride in.
Sure.
Which sucked for a small department. Like I was telling you, we had 3 engines in the truck, and here I got to ride in, so we're down a man, and we rode in with an overdose. And I mean, I trashed this EMT's truck. I trashed. When the patient became awake, he assisted in trashing it. Defecation. And I remember sitting in the captain's chair and looking at this brand new EMT. His shirt's ripped. He's got stains. He's dripping wet and sweat. I said, son, have you ever thought you may have made a mistake in your career? He was like, yeah, I think I have. And then I get to go back. Well, they sat on the wall for 2 hours with this guy arguing with him for a bed.
Oh God,
that's the worst part now. So,
and that's the thing, arguing with the same people all the time. That's the stuff that would get old. I loved helping people that really needed help.
Yep.
That truly it was, they really needed your help, but it's the people that you see that you're on a first name basis with. It's like, okay, hey, Matt, how's it going? What's up tonight? Oh, same thing again. Okay. Well,
I'll meet you at the front door with the
he'll meet you at the front door. That's always the, or you pull up and they're already sitting on the stairs. It's like, okay, what's up?
Yeah.
Come on over here.
Refill your scripts. Yeah. What is it? Airway, breathing. Can you walk to the?
Are you walking? Yep. Okay. Come on over here.
I got so good at writing the reports at the end. I would put in words just to see if anybody was reading my report. I put in that the patient sashayed to the ambulance. I had to look it up and smell it, see how to smell it. I got called to the office for that. They're like, why did you put that? I'm just checking to see if anybody reads these things.
Well, he was sashaying. I can't control that.
And he did. That was the funny part.
That's what he did. He had a very interesting walk up to the med. I mean, what do you want? Yeah,
that's right. I'll play this in the background here. This was I heard. I saw this on Twitter.
122 Roger, and
let me set this up a little bit better. So this is an aircraft that's just taken off, and he's got a couple hundred souls on board. He's declared an emergency, and he's got to return.
422 Roger, and is there any sick passengers or anything, or is there anything unchanged from, I guess, when you came from the center?
Not that I'm aware of. We had somebody brought a service dog on board. They defecated all over the cabin, so it smells pretty bad, even up here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we've got a couple of people that got sick.
Team at 422 Roger, and whenever you get the Guyz, just let me know.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah, 422 Roger.
Yeah, it's an emergency. The dog shit in the cabin.
Actual calls. So
yeah, we didn't have anyone want to get in with a service animal. We had a policy though.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah, we had a policy. We had a policy on that. We had a policy on concealed carry. You could have, but we had a like a lockbox. So if you had a weapon, we'd put it in the lockbox and we'd lock it, and you had a receipt, and we'd give you the receipt. But we couldn't. You're not going to have your weapon with you in the back of the rig with us. So it was put in the side compartment. But we didn't have any service animals.
Yeah, I think I only ran one, and now we all did training to do canine rescue for the police dogs. Well, not all of us. Most of the senior medics went through that. Mm-hmm. That was actually a really fun class, and I would take a canine back in a heartbeat. I wouldn't, because the state of Georgia, you're not supposed to put any animal in the back unless it's a license. You got to go through this checklist of service animal. If it's canine dog, you're gone. You're one of us. So, but we all are not, like I said, novice. A lot of the senior medics did. And I tell this story a lot. One of the best saves of my career, probably the one I remember the most vividly, was a cat out of a structure fire.
Yeah.
It tubed it. I watched it go from dead life. And we just had the CPR class for the canines and stuff. Sure. So I watched these pupils from dilated come back, and then it was biting the tube and fighting us. It walked sideways and had seizures. It was the only thing left from their house, but we saved their cat.
Hey, got the cat out.
Yeah, the chief didn't like it when I had a little gold, you put a Maltese cross up for every save or grab you do.
Oh, sure.
And so I put a little paw print, a gold paw print on the side of the rescue unit. Not happy about that. Yeah. Not happy at all about that.
It counts.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one where I got written up for it because, but even though my captain let us, we were on the hazmat team. I was lucky. It was one of like 2 shifts out of 10 years I ever got to ride the hazmat truck. And command wasn't giving us the assignment. It was a structure fire. Basically, a shed had caught on fire and caught the house next door on fire, and the other house caught on fire. And so dispatch didn't know what to do, so they sent 2 complete responses. So we had 4 chiefs, 2 complete responses, 2 burning houses. And we came in as the manpower unit on the hazmat on the first alarm, the first call that went out. And so we're asking for an assignment, and there are people running around doing all kinds of things. So I see somebody threw the cat out the window. And after the captain had made a request to command you, hazmat 19 to command, you have an assignment. I was like, Cat, I think that cat's still moving. I think we can save it. And he's like, well, screw it. We'll go do that. So we all got written up for doing that. But the next shift, when I come back, we were called to the chief's office and given accommodations for it because we didn't know it. But across the street where they were filming the 2 houses burning down, the media zoomed in on me with a little thing. We were some heroes. I was written up. I'm like, I don't know whether I should be proud of this accommodation or not.
I'll take a darn write-up for saving a kitten.
Yeah,
I'd do it again. Yeah. So, but yeah, there was a lot of fun, and I miss it. So, well, if you got any more coins to show us, I've kept you here way too long. Me and you, when we get to talk, can talk forever.
Well, this was the one. So, when I was in Louisiana for the conference, this was a personal coin that one of the guys came up with.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, he was a captain in Independence. And then I guess he was also a Mason. So on the reverse, he's got his lodge stuff, which is kind of hard to see. There it is.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool, you know.
I like how they did the
actually,
edges
it
on
made
that
me
one.
feel horrible. Because he went up and he did, because the other thing with challenge coins is you're supposed to palm it and then come and shake your hand. That's one way to do it, you know, or you shake the hand and you give, you know, one of those kind of things. I don't have a challenge coin for, you know, 2 Dark 30 or, you know, my company or so it's just like, shit, I need I didn't have my local fire, you know what I mean? I didn't have it on me at the time, so I was like, crap. I owe you dinner. I owe you, you know. So yeah, I go back and buy lunch, but you know, it's one of those things. It's nice. It was a nice gesture. I mean, he obviously didn't have to do that, so that was really cool. And then this was this is the Counseling Center of Texas, who I work with.
Oh, nice.
They do the first responder behavioral health, you know, so that kind of, you know, it's kind of hard to see. It's a firefighter that basically got his hands in the back and then the front. That one we try to do a lot of like, which was actually chapter 9 in the book, talking about, you know, PTSD, trauma, you know, working through, you know, as a teacher, because you know how it is. Whenever we took these classes, no one ever talked about how to deal with death or dying, or no one ever taught you how to tell someone that their mother of, you know, 40 years is dead, or their father, or their grandmother, or aunt or uncle, or God forbid their child is dead. You know what I mean? Like no one tells you how to tell someone those things.
Nope.
So, you know, horrible, and you have to do it. You know, I can't speak for you, but I know I've done it hundreds of times. You know, so it's always horribly uncomfortable. It's always hard. I
remember my first one. I was horrible at it. We were in a rural. I was in a rural county in Tennessee. I was a rookie paramedic. I literally came in carrying everything on the truck.
Yeah.
She had been gone for a while. There was nothing I could do. And I literally set everything down in a cocky, arrogant way and walked out and said to the family, "There's nothing I can do here." And I think they knew, so it wasn't a big a deal. But I did get called into the director's office, and she was real cool about it. She's like, "Hey, they didn't call and complain. Your EMT did, because you made them carry all the stuff out and the way you talked to the family." And I said, "Yeah, they were right." But no, nobody does teach you.
But yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, well, show me when we've done this training. You know, and no one ever has. You know, no one ever has. So like that was one of the things that I was always doing when I was in charge. Bring the new guy in the back of the med, just him and me, one-on-one. I'm like, all right, tell me that my mom died. We worked on her for 45 minutes. Tell me that she's dead. And they're always like, oh, well, you know, because it's uncomfortable, especially if you're very young and you've never really had to deal with death. So you never have personally lost anyone yet. So, you know, it's uncomfortable and it's weird and it's awkward and it sucks. And there's a certain way you need to say things. It's like those canned responses, you know, like when we wrote narratives, you know, I would always do the same kind of narrative. I would change things around, but it's basically the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. There's nothing wrong with having a canned narrative for that kind of situation either, but you have to practice doing it. You've got to go through those motions. You got to get comfortable-ish with being able to do it, and then teach someone how to deal with what they did, what they saw, what this, you know, all the stuff that we did, right? Because it's one thing to do skills, right? You come in, you do CPR, you come in, you do bag, you come in, you get tube, you come in, you get your IV, or you do an IO, or whatever the situation is, right? We do the things we need to do because we're checking off boxes in our mental memory, right? Now, after the fact, we did all those things. How do I deal with processing the fact that if you've never done CPR and you start and you crack that You know, you crack that person's that central sternum, you crack that open and you start crunching. You know, if you've never, you do it one thing, you do it for fakes on a dummy, it doesn't really it's not the same feel.
No,
you know?
not at 3 a.m. in the nursing home.
No, it's not. And especially those old ladies. So there's not a lot of stuff to push down there. There's not a lot of muscle. It's just, you know, cartilage, and you're just cracking cartilage. You know, it's disgusting, and it's, you know, it's icky, and you're not really sure if you're getting a good depth, and am I getting a good retraction? You know, it's just, the whole thing is bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that until you do it. You cannot, there's no way to practice that until you actually do it, right? That's the same kind of thing. We have to set these people up. We can't just bitch and complain about, oh, they're just, you know, they're millennials or Gen Zs. They're, you know, they don't know anything to come in, because they don't know anything.
They legitimately don't know.
They literally don't know. They've been watching videos on YouTube, or they've been watching horrible shows like, you know, 911 and, you know, Chicago Fire, and, you know, good Lord, all these other crappy shows. They're not watching good shows like Emergency or, you know, on MeTV, which they should highly recommend. But, you know, you have to do something. You can't just bitch and complain. You got to be able to teach.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And there is no substitute. And looking back, that was one of the hardest parts when I realized it was done. Looking back at the things that, like in your book, that I did do wrong, you know, so it's a hard thing to do. And
that's the thing. A lot of people don't, you know, and I've said this before too, like, yeah, I've taken the instructor course, but the instructor course is horrible. So it's just like, just because you've taken the instructor course doesn't make you an instructor. You know, when you've taken the paramedic course, that does not make you a paramedic. That just gives you a licensure to act as a paramedic. You become a paramedic with practice. You know, it's like the same thing with fire. You go through the course to become a firefighter, but you're not a firefighter until you do it yet, right?
Yep.
So, you know, that's
a title until you actually get in there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you learn by doing. You know, you learn, you get that experience, and with knowledge and experience comes wisdom, right? That's the thing. That's the process of how we go through. So, you know, don't be upset with these new people or with other people that come in from maybe other departments. Just because you've been doing it for 30 years or 20 years or 10 years or 15 years doesn't mean you're doing it correctly for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. You know?
That's correct. Yeah.
Or the other is maybe there's a better way to do it, you know, or there's a more efficient way to do it, or there's, you know, there's other way. Don't be so closed-minded to be like, no, this is the only way. Come hell or high water, this is how I do it, because this is the way I've been doing it like this for 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's fantastic. I'm proud that you know one way to do it. Let's talk about some other ways to do it. You know, let's talk about why this is maybe a better way to do it. And don't take offense to it. Set that ego aside. Ego aside. Calm down. You know, we're not making funny. We're not trying to belittle you. We're not trying to, you know, that's not what we're doing here. You know, but it's also in the delivery. That's the other thing too, like how you come off.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
it is. Like an arrogant asshole. You know, you want to be able to come off being, hey, let's talk about this. Let's learn. Let's share. Let's get this together. You know, those kind of things. That's not a bad way to do things.
No. So when do you think you're going to have your book out? Your next book?
The second one, I'm hoping. My plan is to have it out for the fourth quarter of this year.
Okay.
Which is always the best time for book sales.
Something I have to ask for your first book that I noticed while I was looking everything up. Sure. What is the companion that goes with it? The
workbook, which actually I have it behind me. So because I'm a teacher, so the book itself, which I'm trying to, it's one of those things. So the book itself, right? I wrote it like, you know, any kind of good short synopsis, conversational. I don't like reading stuff that's textbooky, you know. I want to make it interesting, so it's full of stories of when I was teaching, full of stories when I was doing the jobs, different things like that, even context. So as the teacher in me, every chapter then, I went through and I made the workbook. So I'll see. Let's get to something here. So, for instance, like for chapter 3, how to be a successful teacher, right? So we go through. So in the workbook, I've got basically workbook stuff. So I've got brainstorming. Let's talk. What are some different keys to success? Brainstorm how you would plan to participate in the lesson with your students. What are 5 different ways that as the teacher, how do you want to work with your kids? And I say kids in the general fashion of whoever your students are, right? Or for another thing, like this one here, this one's for chapter 5, how to educate literally in emergency services. I go through and we do a hypothetical safety plan, right? So literally this is, what's your training event day, what's your date, what's your time, what's your location, your identified hazards, hazard mitigation risks, contacts, actually do a fake, how would you do a site plan? Because a lot of people have no idea. They've never done one before. So I threw one in there like, hey, you know what? This is what we're doing. This is what technically you should be doing. So let's practice doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Very
and
cool.
in the end, the other thing, the fun part was in the end of each chapter, I also put some fun stuff. So like, here's a double crossword puzzle with a secret message, So so it's not just, stuff for, learning. I also put, other fun stuff, here's a maze, stuff that, it doesn't have to just be, horribly, coloring pages, the 2 Direct 30.
My favorite.
So,
Much.
that's why I did the workbook as a secondary, like, hey, the book's good, but let's take the learning to the next level, right? Let's actually practice what I'm talking about. So that's what the workbook does.
That's very cool.
Good question. Which is actually funny because on my website, 2direct30.com, I do a combo package. So it's the book and the workbook together. It's called
I did see that.
That's the number 1 seller versus Amazon. If you buy it on Amazon, you have to, there's no combo package. It does that whole suggestion thing. If, like here's the book and, kind of a thing. But on my website, I do the combo thing because I have that ability as the website owner. So.
And I thought it was very cool too that because I do the audiobooks. I think it is very cool that you narrated your own audiobook.
That's and that's the thing. Everyone hates how they sound. Like, I think I sound like a big dumb Midwestern youper that
Well, when you are over on the East Coast here, we like the different accents.
And that's the thing. Like everyone, once I did the book and I had that out, everyone was they were coming up to me. They're like, hey, when are you going to do the audiobook, Mark? When are you going to do the audiobook? And I'm like, I don't think anyone wants to listen to me. They're like, no, you have to do the audiobook. And not only do you have to do the audiobook, you have to do the narrate. Like you have to do it yourself. Because you're telling your stories. No one else is going to tell the stories the way you want to tell. You have to do that. Yep. So I'm like, fine. Okay.
I have to agree with that. With it being such a personal book of all your own personal stories, there's nobody that's going to be able to get the feeling across better than yourself.
Yeah, I have to say, which is funny. So on Audible through Amazon, I think there've been like 158, I think it was up to audiobooks that have been sold, which blows my mind that 158 people have chosen to listen to me for almost 6 hours talk about, all those different things. But hey, whatever, if that's what you want. If you want to listen to me in your car and, or,
when I get my next credits, I'll add you to my on the way to work list.
Yeah, so it's funny. I can't say that it's not interesting, because I never used to be into audiobooks, but when I was doing all the traveling, I was listening to audiobooks. So I could see the appeal. I didn't get it before, but now I do. Yeah,
that's very cool.
Well, when you get your book finished, you're gonna have to come back.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the thing,
we'll do a live reading.
Where's my white the white helmet? The actually have seen some fires white helmet, and it's just like, man, you can see
just
where
you can just wear it while you read.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was thinking of the cover of the book should be like my helmet, like upside down or something.
That'd be cool.
Screwed up.
Well, it's very rare to see a white helmet that's got any dirt on it.
That's actually dirty. Yeah, I was an active chief. I went in interior. I gave the outside. I gave the IC job to whoever the other officer was. I'm like, okay, great, you got IC. I'm going in.
I listen to Fairfax now quite frequently, and the first in officer doesn't take command. Command is given to the battalion chief. He calls it whatever command mobile until he arrives on scene.
Yep.
And then when he arrives on scene, if he's the first one, he assumes that command and he does his secondary 360 and whatever. The next battalion chief in suits up. He goes in.
Sure.
He's interior operations command.
Sure.
And I've never heard. I don't like the fact that they don't give the officers on the engine or truck the ability to make their own decisions without having to call somebody who's still 2 immediates away. I don't like that, but I like the fact now that they finally woke up and realized that you're in there, you're pulling rock, you got fire above you. You may not realize the fire is below you. Yeah. If you have a chief in there, they're called safety, but they're still a battalion chief and they're inside the fire. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Because you're not actively putting out the fire. I remember one fire, we were in there I had a 2-inch hose and we were giving it hell and I was half awake and it wasn't doing anything. Never realized fire was under us. There's a reason we were putting it out. To the chief's like, get the hell out of there. But blinders on, and the officer didn't do a good enough 360, and we got lucky. But I was like, why is this not going? I was still pretty new in my career. I'm thinking, why is this not going out?
Yeah,
I'm putting it out.
Yeah, this thing should be under control by now.
Yeah,
we had a battalion chief when I started in Wassa Fire. He was real big on. He would get there. He would try to beat the engine there, wherever it was. Car 2 was going. He was going. And he would try to get there, and he'd go in, and he would do the 360 and interior check first. He was one of those kind of guys. So half the time we'd be rolling up, and he'd be walking out, of the building that was burning, and we're like, yep. And he didn't have, no, he'd have his jacket on and helmet, and
day boots.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like, yep, there he is. What do we got? Oh, it's this, and this. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. But I think no matter what I do, I'm always going to be a fireman. I don't think it's ever going to leave me. So I'm still a paramedic, but I think I hold that as a higher badge. I mean, as a paramedic, you can do great things and save lives and blah, blah, blah. But it's so much cooler being a fireman. It's one thing I always tell police officers. I told the police officers, I said, you can have the best car. You can have a Lamborghini and all the girls are checking it out. I come rolling through and I got the Federal Cube blaring in that red fire truck. All the girls are going to look at my car. They're not looking at yours.
Well, it's funny too. People still wave when you're riding by in the ambulance or the fire engine. They'll still give you a howdy. If you're a cop, I don't think they're getting many howdies. They're not getting many waves. Hey, how you doing?
And now they're making them put their blue lights on the corner.
They're getting a wave.
Yeah, they're getting a wave. Yeah, it's maybe not the best wave. Yes. Yeah, they're getting a howdy in another way.
That's right. All right. Well, where can everybody find you? So we want to get the.
I am all over the internet. Yeah, I'm on Facebook. You can either look up Too Dark 30 on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Too Dark 30. Everything's Too Dark 30. Written out, the number 2 dark and the number 30 written out. Otherwise, look up Marc Hill. Mark with a C. I'm on LinkedIn. Otherwise, just go to toodark30.com. I'm there. Otherwise, you can email me, markhill@toodark30.com. You can get a hold of me any way, shape, or form possible. I'm out there. Books available on my website right now. I'm trying to get rid of all the stuff I've got left. So there's a 30% off right now in the springtime. So spring cleaning. Otherwise, it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, Google Books. Everywhere you can get a book. Audible, the Audible version, is out there too. So everywhere, it's out there. The book and Shay, the workbook. Yes, everything's
your next one. I want an advanced copy from you. I want an autograph copy from you.
Send me your stuff.
All right, I can do that, and maybe we can talk into getting a Too Dark 30 coin made. We've made a couple.
I was going to say, email me your stuff and we can work on a coin, because obviously I need to have a coin. Got to have something to be able to pass around, and I was thinking that, because I was actually talking to my wife about, I should have like a reward if you do the workbook. Like from front to finish, like there should be like, hey, if you send me, an image or something saying that I've done the workbook, then that should be your reward for the workbook. Get a challenge coin or something.
We'll probably get, once we get all these together, this is the challenge for the show. So me and the other guys came up with it for the show. So once we get everything organized, you will probably get one of those in the mail. I'll have to get your mailing info, of course, but I'll get you one of those. So
that'd be sweet. So
yeah, we can hook it. I wish Matt was here. He's got some personal family things he's taking care of, so we're thinking about him. But he is like I call him a kid. He's retiring out of the military with 28 years, or he looks like he's 12. You can give him an idea and he can punch it into the AI the way he knows how to word it and pop an image up like that. That's incredible. That's the
thing. Like, I've got these. Where is it? So the main decal, this is the decal I do all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big muscle. Look at that arm on that guy.
Which you can also get on the website.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, like that arm, it's totally me. Like, absolutely.
You ate your spinach.
Modeled, yeah, that's a model. That's totally me right there, And then the front, which, is the other one that I try to do, So that would be an easier kind of like, front to back. Like you could do that as a coin, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
Or this is also popular. This one actually glows in the dark.
Oh, we love glow in the dark things, yes. You can make a coin glow in the dark too.
That would be cool if the you have to shut the lights off. But I wonder if it would actually work. Let's see. It's kind of hard to see with the camera the way it is. Which, yes, Shay, is also available on the website, toodark30.com. But that, I thought, something like that would be kind of cool for a challenge coin,
Yeah, we can do it.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
but right. I gotta have something. This isn't the first time someone's mentioned it to me, so
even now when I travel and I'll stop and visit a house or something, I'll have one with me. It just depends on if I'm visiting friends or if I'm stopping by. You know how it is. Once you're a fireman, you can stop at any fire station in the world. So
absolutely, get in here. What are we having for lunch? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. There's not even a secret handshake. So
No.
Just half the time
they
I'm
ask
wearing
you what local you're in if it's a probe, right? But it's like, yeah, whatever. I was in 415. It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
1492. Yeah, I got
whatever,
you.
Yeah. Throw the number out. I don't think they check. There's nobody there's no directory or anything. Yeah.
What was funny was somebody actually asked me once, and I'm like scratching my head, and I'm like, I don't remember.
Yeah, they took my money. I know that.
County. I got an affiliated retired member card.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Good for. Gives me discount on AARP, I guess. I don't know. So. One thing you do need to check out, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but we are one of our sponsors is the Thin Line Rock Station. www.thethinlinerockstation.com. Okay. And they have not, I'm not employed, but they have allowed me to come on for 2 hours from noon to 1400 Eastern, spending some, well, I like to say rock and roll, but I've been in kind of a disco mood. I love driving the program director crazy. I messaged him last night at 3 a.m. and said, hey, do you have a theme to SWAT?
Yeah.
He's like, no, but I will.
Don't do the remake. We're talking the original SWAT.
Oh, I hit him up with Village People. He's like, have you lost your mind? I'm like, what? Come on.
What's the little disco beat to it? That's good stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. That's something you can dance to.
Exactly. So, and that's been one of the harder things for me to learn, how to relax and loosen up. I mean, it's one thing to do this with you and, with Jay and Andy or whomever, but when it's just me and a microphone being stupid, I have to figure out how to be stupid. So that's been a learning curve, but I've enjoyed it. And he's allowed me to play music and come up with stuff. And like I said, I messaged him last night and said, do you get SWAT? And he's like, no, but I shouldn't I? I said, it'd be nice.
That'd be cool.
So they're really cool. Check that out if you get a chance. Now I'll try and, I did mention that you were coming to be on the show so I'll try and mention that. I don't know if it'll help, but I will plug it.
Sure.
Also,
absolutely. If you need me to call in, I'll call in and give you. I'll be your call in. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. You go to speakpipe.com/Sportcat and leave a voicemail. If you have a record request or a song request or something, I'll play it on the air, and I've got permission to do that all day long. So. Nice. So yeah, by all means.
Have they gotten the Village People yet?
Yes, they have. They have gotten the Village People. I've played it. He's got.
I will call in for In the Navy.
Yeah, we have the way it's lined up on there. It's like rock, disco, whatever. He's got it in the column of never play again. Oh, that's a genre. So yeah, he's funny, but I love it. I don't want to forget to mention also Susan Smith with protectingtheblue.com. She is still working on her coin and her stuff for Police Week, and I'm not sure when Police Week is. Andy, is it this week coming up? Do you know? It's coming up soon.
I believe it is in the next week or two.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. So she's still trying to raise money to get there, and she goes out, and it's really cool what she does. She is a retired officer out of Texas, and she's big on preaching about the PTSD and safety and stuff. And she has a poker chip. Every officer,
cool.
It's a poker chip.
Nice.
Now, are we talking about National Police Week?
Yeah, in DC.
It looks like that's May 12th through the 18th.
Okay,
it's
so
May 15th through the 21st. I just looked it up.
Okay, so yeah, we want to help her get there. She's traveling from the Carolinas, so if you get a chance, hop on over to her site, protectingtheblue.com, and you can buy the coins, or you can make a donation, buy a shirt, whatever. So I always pimp her because she's always trying to help out. So yeah, and I will mention your book, and I don't do. All right, Jay, Andy, this is your time to remind me. Am I forgetting to mention anybody? So.
Who are we having on next week?
Oh, see, this is why I got her. Next week. Well, tomorrow is the Misfits, and that's just our normal cut-up group. And then the following week, Wednesday, is the Paranormal Guys. Bring the calendar up now. I should have already done this. When is it?
Hold on, I got it behind me.
No, I got it here. Next week, we have two authors on. George Miller and Jolly Roger wrote two good books about the paranormal, so they're on. And then on the Grin Guardian show, we have a detective retired from, where's he retired? Chicago? Yeah, he's retired from Chicago, and he's also an author and podcast. So we have him coming on next week. So Mike Hammond. So I should have flowed a little bit better than that. Did I do that to her, or did she? Okay, make sure I didn't kick her out. But yeah, so that's what we got going on. Mark, I'm gonna let you get out of here. Thank you. As always, it's been fun. I didn't plan on keeping you 2 hours. So
No, I got it. Let me check my schedule. Yeah, I'm free. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Anytime you want to pop in here, Friday nights we're on 9 till whenever. So,
9 to whenever. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Eastern Standard Daylight Time.
Yeah, you're an hour behind us, aren't you?
That's I am. It's only 10:23 my time. Right now.
Here, yeah. It's my Friday. I haven't had my drink yet, so I'll have to go figure out how to get a drink. But yeah, thanks for coming on. And anytime you
have me, I appreciate it. If anybody needs to get a hold of me, hey, you got all the ways to get a hold of me. No big deal.
All right. Thank you, Mark. We will talk to you soon. I'll try to
See you, Mark.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Night. All right. Well, that was a little bit longer than I thought because of the hiccup at the beginning, but it was a great show. I always enjoy having Mark. So
He seems like a cool dude.
I need to just talk him into being a regular, just coming in and just running the show. He probably did a better job than me. So he was a chief, so he's got the training, whereas I was just a tailboard fireman. Shay, are you going to be anywhere next week, or have you got any?
I will be here.
Okay. Well, no, I know you were looking at other podcasts. I didn't know if you had anything else going on.
I don't think any of my stuff starts until next month.
Okay. How about you, Andy? What are you doing?
Just here on Friday night.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you. You need to start coming up, Andy, with some cool audio like that. I thought about that today when I heard that clip. I was like, I'm going to play that on there because that's a crappy call to run.
Yeah, really.
And I guarantee you could probably hear one a week what you listen to, so you could probably find us a good one. So,
oh yeah. Well, we had a call the other week, about 2 weeks ago, and one of our fire police went in service, and he marked up. And he said, "I'm in service on the call," and somebody came over the radio. I don't know who it was, but he said out loud, "Who gives a shit?"
I was all right.
But come to find out, the person was on a lower band radio, so that one didn't have an identifier on it.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, dispatch always likes to know who's cussing them.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
I've been that dispatcher, so you're going to get all the crappy calls.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, Andy, thank you for coming on. I know Cap is in training in Texas, learning how to shoot people with a taser gun or something. It's all about it.
The high-powered taser.
Yep. And Matt is still taking care of some family issues, so we thoughts and prayers of Matt and his family. And then I don't know where Chuck is, so Chuck, we'll have to get on him. We ain't heard from him in a while. So.
He's probably taking his kids up places.
That's true. It is ball season. His kids were doing really well, so maybe. So, and I'm still trying to get Officer Farva to come on. So as soon as I can I've got him. He's going to come on. He listens to the show, but he's usually on duty while he's listening. So he's going to commit once they do their shift rotation.
It's time to go live in the police car. We can watch him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just tell him to take a 5-minute break.
Live PD episode.
Heck yeah.
Exactly. So, and speaking of live PD, I am talking to a couple of people that were former live PD officers, trying to get them to come on. So we'll see. I'm trying. Of course, you can find me Tuesdays and Thursdays spinning out the YMCA on thefinlinerockstation.com. So,
Heck yeah.
Well, which one are you dressing up as?
Well, I'm here alone.
You can't pick the cop.
Yeah, I don't want to be a police officer. Never wanted to be a police officer. In my entire life, I don't want to be a police officer. I always wanted to be a fireman. I fell and hit my head and became a paramedic. I don't know what the hell happened there. So. And I have no idea what happened. I looked on YouTube a few minutes ago, and we're still live, but we did not go out on the show we were supposed to. So I have no idea what happened.
We need to talk to Joseph about what kind of juju he brought in here the other day.
That is true. That is very true. So
super funny. I started his book the other day.
Oh,
and the main guy that he was talking about, the Heinrich guy, if you listen to the audiobook, the dude who's doing the voiceover, he sounds like Snape.
Okay.
It's hysterical.
I
was like trying to like be real serious, and I was just like,
well, I'm hoping that I get a copy of Ben's Bones from him. He was supposed to mail me one, so I'm hoping to get a copy of that. So that was the one I was most interested in. So, and we do have a couple special episodes too that we're taping soon coming up. So looking forward to that.
Yep.
We have some international listeners and some international authors and podcasters.
It's May 6th, I believe it was.
I think so.
May 5th.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm still looking for my vampire. I don't think I'm going to find a vampire, so I'm trying. Well, they don't come on at night, I guess. I don't know what it is.
I reached out to that lady with her ghost husband, but I haven't heard back from her.
But you'll have to keep me informed on that. So.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, good times.
Go search into the universe somewhere and see if I can find us a vampire.
Vampire and time traveler.
I can't promise how sane they will be.
That's kind of the fun of this. Hey, then you can wear your new eye shield.
Yep. Oh, hold on, I gotta see which one it's saved at.
Yeah, you're gonna love this, Andy. Oh, it's backwards, but yeah.
Backwards and upside. Oh my god. That's
Can you see through it? When you're wearing it? Oh my god. That's great.
It's just got this really hard rubbery part that's supposed to go on the bridge of your nose, and it just, I think it comes off, but it's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun with this. This is one of your new buys.
Yep.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you for tuning in, and we will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
See ya.